You are living in a delusion of security built on a foundation of math that is about to expire because the digital locks guarding your wealth, your identity, and your secrets are based on prime number factorization, which is a problem that quantum computers will solve before you finish your morning coffee. The quantum apocalypse, or Q-Day, is not science fiction. It is the inevitable collapse of the current cryptographic standard that holds the entire global server together. You think your bank account is safe because of 256-bit encryption. You think your Bitcoin is secure because of the blockchain. You are wrong. You are relying on a shield that will turn into mist the moment a sufficiently powerful quantum processor comes online. The sovereign architect understands that every single piece of data you have ever transmitted over the internet, your emails, your medical records, your financial transactions, is currently being intercepted and stored by state-level actors in massive data centers. This is the harvest now, decrypt later strategy. They are vacuuming up the encrypted packets today, knowing that in 5 or 10 years they will have the key to unlock them all. You are already naked, you just don't know it yet because the lights haven't been turned on. The moment Q-Day arrives, the history of your digital life becomes public property to those who hold the quantum advantage. The privacy you think you have is a temporary illusion granted by the lag in technological development. That lag is closing, the gap is disappearing, and you are standing there with a password manager thinking you are a fortress. The impact of this event on the financial system will be the equivalent of a nuclear strike on the ledger of the world. The entire banking infrastructure relies on public key cryptography to verify identities and authorize transactions. When that cryptography is broken, the concept of ownership in the digital realm evaporates. A hacker with a quantum computer can impersonate the central bank. He can drain your wallet. He can rewrite the history of the blockchain. The immutable ledger becomes mutable. The secure vault becomes an open door. The meat will panic. They will watch their net worth vanish in seconds as the algorithms raid the accounts. The social sludge will scream for the government to save them, but the government will be too busy trying to secure its own nuclear launch codes, which are protected by the same obsolete math. This is the ultimate leveling event. It is the great reset where digital wealth goes to zero and only physical kinetic reality remains. If you are holding all your assets in the cloud, you are betting your survival on the hope that the physicists are slow. That is a bad bet. The physicists are fast. The engineers are hungry. The machine is coming. The blockchain, which you worship as the new god of sound money, is particularly vulnerable in its current state. The elliptic curve cryptography used by Bitcoin and Ethereum is susceptible to Shor's algorithm, which allows a quantum computer to derive the private key from the public key. This means that if you have ever made a transaction and revealed your public key, your wallet is potentially compromised the moment the quantum threshold is crossed. The immutable code is just a logic puzzle, and quantum computers are the cheat codes. While the developers are scrambling to implement post-quantum signatures, the transition will be chaotic and violent. Many will be too slow. Many will lose everything. The digital gold will turn to digital dust for those who do not upgrade their security posture. You are holding a lottery ticket where the prize is poverty if you do not understand the physics of the threat. The architect does not trust code he cannot audit, and he does not trust math that is theoretically breakable. He hedges. He diversifies into the atoms. He realizes that in a world where digital locks are broken, the only secure vault is a hole in the ground that only he knows about. The geopolitical implications are the end of the private citizen. When encryption dies, privacy dies. The state will have total omniscient access to every thought you have ever typed. The leverage they will have over the population will be absolute. Every mistake you made 10 years ago, every private conversation, every dissenting opinion will be decrypted and used to construct a social credit score that chains you to the floor. The Harvest Now data is a time bomb sitting in the archives of the NSA and the CCP. They are waiting for the machine that diffuses the encryption so they can weaponize your past against your future. The sovereign architect realizes that the only way to win this game is to stop playing it. You must minimize your digital footprint, not because you are hiding, but because you are starving the beast. You must assume that everything you send is already read. You must operate as if you are under total surveillance, because mathematically you are. The only secrets that are safe are the ones that never touch a keyboard. The only wealth that is safe is the wealth that cannot be accessed via a Wi-Fi connection. The meat continues to use password 123 and relies on SMS two-factor authentication, which is already a joke. But the coming storm makes even the most paranoid cybersecurity expert look like a child with a toy lock. The quantum machine does not care about your password complexity. It attacks the underlying mathematics of the connection. It breaks the SSL handshake that secures the website. It breaks the VPN tunnel. It strips away the layers of the onion until there is nothing left but the raw data. The internet was built on trust and verify. Quantum computing destroys the verification. Without verification, there is no trust. Without trust, the network collapses. You are building your castle on a frozen lake and the spring is coming. The ice will crack. The water will swallow the unprepared. The resource war will shift from who has the best software to who has the best hardware. And by hardware, I mean guns, gold, and land. The digital abstraction is a luxury of a stable cryptographic era. That era is ending. The psychological shock of the quantum apocalypse will drive the masses into a psychosis of distrust. When you cannot trust your bank balance, cannot trust your email, and cannot trust the news because deepfakes are perfect and verification is broken, society fractures into micro-tribes of physical proximity. The only people you can trust are the ones you can touch. The only money you can trust is the money you can hold. The global server fragments into local networks that are air-gapped from the chaos. The architect is already building these networks. He's already establishing the physical protocols. He's not waiting for the Q-day to realize that the cloud is just someone else's computer and that computer is about to be hacked by the laws of physics. The convenience of the digital life is the bait. The trap is the total loss of sovereignty when the encryption fails. You are trading your freedom for an app. The app is about to stop working. This is not a prediction of doom. It is a statement of engineering capability. The qubits are scaling. The error correction is improving. The timeline is compressing. You can ignore it and hope for the best, or you can accept it and prepare for the worst. The worst is a world where digital assets are worthless and digital secrets are public. If your entire life is on the phone, you are already dead. You just haven't received the notification yet. The notification will come in the form of a zero balance and a leaked file. The sovereign prepares for the analog reality. The sovereign builds a firewall of atoms. The sovereign knows that the only thing that beats a quantum computer is a physical reality that cannot be computed. Tactical execution of the quantum apocalypse protocol begins with the immediate recognition that anything relying on a prime number to protect it is already compromised, so you must pivot your center of gravity from the digital abstraction to the physical reality. The sovereign architect hedges against the death of encryption by accumulating assets that do not require a password to access. This means a heavy rotation into atoms. Gold does not have a private key that can be cracked by Shor's algorithm. Land does not rely on an SSL certificate to exist. Ammunition does not need a blockchain to be effective. You are building a portfolio that is quantum resistant by definition because it exists outside the domain of computation. The first step is to become your own central bank in the physical realm. You withdraw a strategic reserve of cash and convert a significant portion of your net worth into tangible tradable goods. You are not abandoning the digital, you are deprioritizing it. You treat your crypto and your bank balance as high-risk speculative buckets while your hard assets become the bedrock of your survival. When the banking system freezes to patch the quantum leak, you will be the only one with liquidity because your liquidity is in your safe, not on a server. The meat will be standing in line at the ATM, waiting for a software update while you are conducting business with silver and lead. We must address the digital defense for the assets you must keep online. You need to migrate immediately to platforms and protocols that are implementing post-quantum cryptography, PQC. The standard encryption algorithms, RSA, ECC, are dead men walking. You need to look for lattice-based cryptography and other quantum-resistant standards. You check your messaging apps. Are they using the latest PQC protocols like Signal's PQXD8? If not, you switch. You check your VPN. You check your password manager. You become an early adopter of the shield technology because the sword is getting sharper every day. For your cryptocurrency, you do not sit on legacy addresses. You monitor the development of quantum-resistant blockchains, and you prepare to migrate your stack the moment the upgrade paths are clear. But more importantly, you practice the art of the deep cold storage. You generate keys on an air-gapped machine that has never touched the internet and never will. You store these keys on steel plates, not on paper that burns or hard drives that rot. You create a gap so wide that the quantum computer cannot reach you because there is no wire to travel on. The air gap is the only defense against a superior intelligence. If it cannot touch you, it cannot hack you. The strategy of data poisoning is the offensive countermeasure to the harvest now decrypt later threat. Since you must assume that your encrypted traffic is being stored, you must flood the channel with noise. You cannot stop them from recording you, but you can make the recording useless. You generate false traffic. You search for things you do not need. You send encrypted emails filled with random gibberish or misleading plans. You increase the entropy of your digital footprint so that when the AI eventually decrypts your file, it finds a chaotic mess of contradictions. You hide the needle of your true intent in a haystack of manufactured lies. This is the spycraft of the sovereign. You do not try to be invisible, that is impossible. You try to be indistinguishable from the noise. You wear the digital camouflage of the lunatic or the bot. You make yourself an expensive target to analyze. The state has finite computing power. Make them waste it on your decoys. The analog hard copy protocol is your insurance policy against the erasure of history. If the bank's database is corrupted by a quantum attack, or if the title registry is hacked, who proves you own your house? Who proves you are who you say you are? You must create a physical backup of your identity and your assets. You get certified hard copies of your deeds, your titles, your medical records, and your birth certificate. You print out your contact list. You print out your critical emails. You store these in a fireproof, waterproof safe. This sounds archaic to the tech-worshipping social sludge, but the architect knows that paper is hack-proof. A quantum computer cannot alter ink on a page inside your basement. When the digital lights go out, the man with the paper records is the man with the proof. You are building a redundant system for your own existence. You are ensuring that you can reboot your life from a cold start even if the global server is wiped clean. Communication in a post-quantum world requires a return to the one-time pad. This is the only mathematically unbreakable encryption known to man, and it does not require a computer. It requires a random key that is as long as the message used only once and then destroyed. The sovereign architect learns how to use this. You generate pads physically with dice or atmospheric noise, not with pseudo-random number generators. You exchange these pads physically with your most trusted lieutenants. When you need to send a message that absolutely cannot be read by the NSA or the quantum eye, you use the pad. It is slow, it is cumbersome, and it is perfect. It is the ultimate middle finger to the technocratic surveillance state. They can build a computer the size of a city, and they still cannot crack a properly used one-time pad. You keep this capability in reserve for the critical moments. You build the infrastructure of secrecy now, so you have it when the network becomes transparent. The psychological preparation involves accepting that privacy as a default state is over. You are now operating in a glass house. This means you must live a life that is anti-fragile to exposure. You do not have secrets that can destroy you. You own your flaws. You own your radical positions. If they decrypt your chat history, let them find a man who was consistent, who was dangerous, and who was right. You remove the leverage they have over you by being unashamed. But for the tactical secrets, the location of the gold, the codes to the safe, you keep those strictly analog. You never type them. You never speak them near a microphone. You keep them in the wetware, your own brain. The brain is the final fortress. They can hack the silicon, but they cannot yet hack the neurons if you are disciplined. You compartmentalize your life. The public face is digital. The sovereign core is analog. The quantum apocalypse is a filter event. It will wipe out the wealth of the passive and the unprepared. It will transfer the resources to those who understood the physics of information. You are positioning yourself to be on the winning side of this transfer. You are not fearing the collapse of the encryption, you are betting on it. You are shorting the digital illusion and going long on the physical reality. When the Q-day comes and the world is panicking because their passwords don't work, you will be calm. You will have your goal. You will have your paper. You will have your tribe. And you will have the keys to the new kingdom because you were the only one who didn't throw away the physical keys when the digital ones were invented. The era of easy security is ending. The era of active sovereign defense is beginning. The math is changing. You change with it or you get solved.